Welcome to this explainer. Today, we are hitting our exact target. Evaluate structural patterns and compare heroic characters for a multimedia report. Whether you're reading a really dense article or an epic graphic novel, authors don't just dump words on a page. They actually build blueprints. Ultimately, we're building the essential skills you need to create a rock-solid, evidence-based multimedia report. Understanding exactly how a text is built and how its characters operate is the absolute key to true comprehension. So let's learn how to crack their codes.
Okay, let's dive right in. Authors construct information using distinct structural patterns. Think of them as architectural blueprints for a text. We're going to look at 4 specific ones today. First up, we have the chronological pattern, which organizes events strictly by time order. Next is cause and effect, and this focuses on an action and its direct result. Third is compare and contrast, which highlights the similarities and differences between 2 or more subjects. And finally, problem and solution, which outlines an issue and then details exactly how it gets fixed. Now, the secret to identifying these isn't magic. It's hunting for signal words. These act like secret decoder rings for the reader. So a word like similarly is an arrow pointing straight to compare and contrast, while consequently pretty much screams cause and effect. So how do we actually figure this out in practice? Well, by following a simple 3-step process, you can map out any text. Step 1, locate those signal words we just talked about. Step 2, use those words to determine the actual relationships among the ideas. Ask yourself, are the ideas contrasting with one another? Is one idea the direct result of another? Once you know exactly how the ideas relate, you easily arrive at step 3, reveal the structural pattern. This sequence literally works every single time. It takes the guesswork completely out of reading and replaces it with solid analytical evidence.
Let's pause for a quick check. I want you to think about this for a second. If you spot an author consistently using signal words like first, then, and finally throughout a paragraph, what text structure are you looking at? Keep those 4 patterns in mind. Which one relies entirely on sequence? The answer, of course, is the chronological pattern. But hey, listen closely because we need to correct a major misconception right now. It is a super common mistake to think that every single narrative sequence, or story, just simply moves chronologically from beginning to end. That's actually just not true. Authors often use flashbacks to jump around in time, or they might structure a whole chapter strictly by cause and effect to show exactly why something happened rather than just when. The takeaway here? Always trust the signal words and the relationships, not just your assumptions about how a story should flow. All right, let's shift gears to the characters and see how this builds our source-grounded method for comparing heroes. When you're tasked with comparing characters for a multimedia report, you absolutely cannot just guess. You need a strict 5-part formula based entirely on textual evidence. Here's how it works. First, what is the specific challenge the character faces? Second, what is their exact action and response? Third, what is their motivation or the real reason why they did it? Fourth, what is the consequence of that action? And finally, based on those 4 pieces of evidence, what is the supported trait we can confidently assign to this hero? And this brings us to a really crucial difference, the difference between an unsupported label and a true brave choice. An unsupported label is when someone just says, hey, this character is a hero, but they provide 0 proof from the text. In academic analysis, yeah, that won't cut it. A brave choice, on the other hand, is firmly grounded in the text's evidence. It proves heroism by pointing to a very specific action taken in response to a difficult challenge, backed by a clear motivation. We don't just call characters heroes, we prove they're heroes using the text itself. Let's put this formula to the test with 2 invented heroes, Mina and Theo. Think about Mina's challenge. Rising floodwaters are literally threatening her town. Instead of fleeing, her action is repairing a flood barrier alongside her neighbors. That undeniable evidence proves the trait of community leadership. Meanwhile, Theo is trapped in a sudden school blackout. His action, guiding younger, panicked students to safety in the pitch dark. That proves calm bravery. See, we aren't just calling them heroes out of nowhere. We have the hard data to prove it right here. Now, we've got to correct another huge misconception here, especially when analyzing literature. A hero does not need to be physically powerful. They don't have to be swinging a sword or lifting a car. As Mina and Theo just showed us, the exact same underlying heroic traits can appear through completely different, everyday, non-physical actions. Organizing a community to fill sandbags, or just keeping a level head to help younger kids in the dark. Those are profound, brave choices. Real heroism in texts is defined by the choice and the motivation, not the muscle. Time for our second pause check. Based strictly on our 5-part framework, how do you identify which piece of evidence best supports a specific heroic trait for Theo? How do we prove he exhibits calm bravery without just throwing out an unsupported label? Think about the pieces of evidence we just looked at. The answer is that you must look for the direct link. You link the specific challenge of the sudden blackout to his specific action of guiding the students. That combination is what proves a brave choice was made. You're showing exactly how he handled the challenge, which completely justifies the trait of calm bravery, rather than just relying on an empty, unsupported label. It is all about that textual evidence. Section recap: structures and heroes. Let's lock these concepts into your memory with 3 key takeaways. 1. Authors use signal words to reveal chronological, cause and effect, compare and contrast, or problem and solution patterns. 2. A hero is defined by source-grounded evidence of their challenges, actions, and motivations, absolutely not by physical power. And 3. Comparing these evidence-based traits prepares you to organize a highly structured multimedia report. All right, now it is time for your transfer task. Turn to your authorized texts. First, identify the structural pattern the author is using. Then, compare 2 heroic characters using exactly 2 details each, and use that data to plan 1 evidence-based multimedia slide. Remember your exact target today. Evaluate structural patterns, compare heroic characters, multimedia report. So, as you open your books today, ask yourself, are you just reading the words, or are you finally seeing the invisible blueprints and brave choices hiding right there on the page?